Good morning, out here on the sunny porch in Spain with the ONE RS. Takes a bit getting used to the ONE RS because there's also an RS1. But if you just remember, it's the one, it's the number one camera, Insta360, it's the RS. Rahman Sport. Been enjoying this camera for a day now, a bit less than a day. And I've been out last night, I filmed with the car, in the kitchen. I tried a star lapse, but it kept going on. I think I was 20 minutes waiting for it, so in the end I stopped it. And there were a few planes with their lights coming in, so I'm sure that would have affected it. But what I had was a sky that just looked lit up. You could see a few stars dotted around, but it wasn't anything worth uploading. I've had the ONE X, the Insta360 X, which is about €330. Then I saw they do the X3. I was surprised and enjoyed using the ONE X. It's lighter, got no screen, and I went out on my e-wheel and bikes in the countryside, made some videos and photos. And then I thought, you see, within a month you can send it back with Amazon. So I took advantage of that, got Amazon Prime, and sent it back. And the next day they'd given me the money, and I went for the €200 more X3 with the screen, waterproof, slightly bigger sensor, 2/3 of an inch, and enjoyed that. It's waterproof. I do feel the lenses on these cameras a little bit exposed, especially this with the Leica lenses. I'd like to protect them, but as far as I can see, protecting the lenses will take away from the quality of your recording, so just got to be very careful with them. I think the easiest thing to do is have the tripod up, and it's a bit, I was in a place where it's a bit windy, and that can blow it over. So be careful of any wind. But it would be nice to have some sort of protection. I think the best ones I found were the ones that actually Insta sell. I didn't get them because they wanted another, I don't know, €20 to post them. They're only about €22. And they were going to take a few days. But just the natural glass lenses are obviously going to be the best. The battery life I found very good with the X3, but you've got that quite big screen. Do you really need the big screen? Probably not really. You know what you're going to do a video or you're going to do a photo, and it knows what setting you like really. So you don't really need a big screen. I just saw for €400 more, I could have the best thing that Insta make, and I went and saw the videos on the ONE RS, and one night I thought, why not? I can always send it back if I look after it. So I bought that, and it was here the next day, and I'm talking to you on it now. Some people say that the sound isn't very good, but I think as long as you speak clearly to it, you've got stereo or you've got noise reduction, whereas with the X3 you've got voice focus, which focuses on your voice, but if you turn the camera around or even editing, it trails off. So you've got to remember that. I've enjoyed the editing software in 360 Studio. Learned to do barrel rolls and 360s and all sorts of things by watching videos. But I think if you want the best quality and the sharpest photos and video, then the ONE RS at €930. I was just looking at the bill from Amazon, and you know, €170 of that is tax, VAT. Apparently you can claim it back, but I don't think you can do that within the EU, can you? Because if you're going to another EU country, if you're going to a country where there is no VAT, maybe the United States somewhere, but not all states are VAT free. I don't know the levels of VAT there, but some states it's just a few percent. Not really sure what countries are VAT free. Maybe Dubai is. And what else can I tell you about the One RS so far in 24 hours? The battery seems good, although I notice it's 1,300 milliamp hours, not 1,800, 850 like the X3. The battery isn't one that you can just buy for 35 euros. It's a block. This camera is in 3 blocks. You have to take it apart to get the SIM card in. When I first got it, I couldn't get it to turn on. I plugged it into charge. It was charging. I left it for about half an hour. It still wouldn't turn on. And in the end, I connected it to my laptop, and it registered that there was a external drive there, and it saw the hard drive. But as soon as you, be careful of this, as soon as you unplug the cable I thought I'll unplug it and then it will turn on. And that's what I found with this camera. If it's plugged into your laptop, you can't turn it on. It just doesn't do anything. So I unplugged it, and that can cause a problem with the SD cards with this camera. A different sort of system with the X3. The X3 is more advanced in some ways. Like it has HDR video. It takes 9 photos in HDR, and you can control that. You can say, I only want to take 3 photos in HDR. Because when you look at your files, you'll have 9 photos, and it won't have a preview. Only if you bring it into the app, if you import them into the app. But you'll have 9 photos there for HDR, and then you open one, and they all open together. But with the One RS, I haven't found yet in settings where you can alter that if you wanted to, or turn it up. Wouldn't mind turning it up to maximum. But I'm impressed with the photos, especially at night in a bar. I did a bar last night, and the photo came out a lot better lit than it was in real life. This is what you get with good cameras, and that was with HDR on. It just looked, wow, that not the same photo. If you want that, I think if you don't want all that lighting lit up in that same way, don't use HDR. This hasn't got HDR video. The settings seem a bit more basic, but then at the top we've got this beautiful Leica lens, which I'm looking at now, on both sides, and it's got Leica written on it. And I've been looking at Leica cameras, and you can easily spend from 5,000 euros for one, and it may not even have a lens, but Leica has its following. But I've always been a believer of, it's not the camera, it's who's behind it, their ideas, and what you're recording. That's interesting or not. It might not be interesting what I'm saying now, in my experience. Good little thing to use this, as I did yesterday in the kitchen, is to actually, because I can edit it later, is to walk around the camera like this, walk around it, and I can turn the camera now to face me. I think, and this has got an external mic. It is important to speak clearly to the camera and not have a lot of surrounding noise. But there's no getting away from it. It is a beautiful camera, and I'm pleased I got it. But yesterday I wasn't very happy with it, because when I disconnected, getting back to the SD card, it damaged it. Then when I turned the camera on, it came up with a big red circle over the SD card with a cross through it. It said not readable. And then I took it out, took the thing apart again. You've got to take it apart with the 3 modules. There's a method of doing that, not hard. And it's sort of slopped together using USB-C. Took the SIM card out, the SD card out, put it in my laptop, and again it wouldn't read it, but it gave me the option to repair it with Apple, and it repaired it, and it said there'd been a problem with it and what the application had repaired. So put it back into the camera, the One RS, and I didn't expect it to work, but it did work. But I have read and seen videos of people having problems with the SD cards with their cameras, and I think you've got to be very careful not to disconnect the drive from your laptop prematurely. You know what I mean? You've got to close the app, Insta360 app. You've got to close that because if you've got any photos open, because they might be reading it off your hard drive of the camera. So always eject the disk, it says, correctly before removing the cable. And this phone doesn't seem to work with the cable connected, which is strange. You can't go into it and connect it to your phone. Another thing I'm finding is I would have thought you could access all the settings in your phone connected to the app, but you can't. For example, changing photo quality, HDR or not HDR. There aren't really many settings in this phone. It's quite basic, but then what you've got is just a very good lens. If you edit the videos, I found with time frames, they're called, so you can make the camera move round the subject if you want, and then put another time frame, and then turn it around a bit more, or go off into a bit more fisheye. You do all that with the time frames, but when you export that video, it's a lot smaller than, it's only going to be 1080p, but very good quality. It's a lot smaller. You can up the bit rate a lot if you want. Normally it's set at 25, you can up that to 100, but I've heard that going past 50 doesn't really make much difference, it just makes the file size much bigger. So this video now I'm talking to might be 1.5 gig with 25 bit rate, which is sufficient. But if you up that to 50, it's going to double, and so on. But some people say give it the maximum. It's great if you've got plenty of disk space. I find in my phone it gets full up, and I've been using an iPad as well, which is good. It's a different way of connecting. You're using the mobile app as opposed to the desktop app. I've enjoyed it. What else can I say about it? The battery, to buy a spare battery is not going to be the same as the X3, which is an inserting one. This is more part of the camera. It's a block. I don't think you can take the battery out of it. You need to buy that, and I'm sure that will be more expensive. But with the smaller screen, and it's off now, the battery's going to last longer. Very good in dusk situations, low light, and it's a learning curve, and I'm enjoying it. Making a video, like walking around, you can see so much more with 360, and it's more involving. You see more of the room, and I've been photographing it. I've got an old Finca, which is a bit run down, and been gradually restoring it, and this is ideal to show all the bedrooms. There's 5 bedrooms, what we're doing in them, and if you wanted to show it to someone, for example, if you want to sell a house, there's nothing better than showing them 360 photos. The photos you have to upload to an application like Cooler or to YouTube, and I know you've got to now, to see 360 videos in YouTube, you need to have a little app that inserts a code, otherwise it won't work. It won't know it's 360. So that means when you're watching it on your device, you can move round where you want in 360. The app will also let you use goggles if you want to put your goggles on and then move around your photo and see it all, or videos as well. Remember, YouTube is videos. I've tried uploading a photo only and it doesn't let it, it's not a video. But then you can upload your photos into iMovie, say, and make a little movie with photos in, say, 4 or 5 seconds, and then upload that. So that would work. But you're not going to be able to see the photos in 360 like having an account with Cooler. So that's all a learning curve. And Cooler as well, excuse me, is just photos. You can't upload a video. It just sticks with photos. So then you can send a link to your friends and they can have a good look round or see your tours. And there's quite a bit to be learned to how to make a tour, but it's just using it. And if you want to put a title in, change its name. You can also have a little green cross, which you place on the 360 photo, move it round to where you want it to be when people open the photos, and it stays there, and you save it. That's clever. And then there's what qualities you're saving things in. You need quite a lot of space. If I just go out and take a few videos, even photos, it can be up to 15 gigabyte in a few minutes. That's my thoughts today with just less than 1 day with the One RS. I think I will be keeping it for the time being. I just like to be able to, I wish it was waterproof, but it's splash proof. But if I do fall in the sea, which I have done off a boat, or my rucksack rolls in, then it is better waterproof, like the X3. The X3 does have its certain advantages, but at the end of the day, the lens isn't as big and you're not going to get quite the quality you will with this. So it's not double the price, but it's 400 more of a 540 euro buy. And things are substantially more in Europe than America. America's the big customer. But they're getting it in America for $400, whereas in Europe you're paying $500. So it's 25% more, which is what VAT is. In some ways it's attractive. I did do this once, just to fly to America, to Miami, and go into computer PC World or somewhere like that, and buy your computers and then throw the boxes away and come back and use them. Anything expensive with tax going on top, obviously worth looking around where you can buy it at a better price. Yeah, the lens protection would be nice. Something to go on these lenses. They are big. There's not so much to it to stick to. I did see a video yesterday on YouTube of a Chinese guy who put lens protectors on and he admitted it wasn't as good. But if you're in a situation where you need protection, but it's less attractive, say, go out on my e-wheel in the countryside where I could fall off or drop the pole with it in my hand and get that video, than not, or just buy the cheapest one at 330 euros and just use that for sports. And if you damage the lenses, well, you've only lost 300, not 900, like this One RS. The tripod's good. I bought this. This is an Insta one. Be careful it doesn't blow over though, or fall over, because that will land smack on the lenses. I think they're going to be very tough and not break easily. It's going to be very strong glass, and also it's curved, isn't it? So a curve, any sort of dome structure is very strong. Pushing, or it takes a whack like an igloo. So that's my thoughts for today on the camera. I think I'm going to get there's a silicone case for €13, and the little stickers for the lens for the screen, about 10. I'm going to order those. And it's nice to have a camera that you use. You know, I've got it in my bag, we're on the pole, ready to go. And if you see something worth doing, like last night I was driving down to the town, so I thought I'd put it through the sunroof and record that. And I made a little video of that, and it was beautiful sky. You could circling around the car, and I'm still driving fully in control with both hands on the wheel. Not as if you're doing it with a mobile phone, which of course you're not allowed to do. Thank you.